Hi Scorpio, welcome back to the Astrology 33 channel. This is your March 2021 love reading. Thank you to those of you who liked, viewed, shared, subscribed, and donated to the channel. I appreciate all of that. For those of you interested in booking personal reading with me, just check out the description video for more details there. And as far as what we have in front of us, for those of you new to the channel, we have what's called a Bridging the Gap spread, and the way it works is the cards on the left side represent your energy toward the connection with your main love interest. Cards on the right side represent their energy toward the connection. And we'll look at the past energies, present energies, future energies. Once we get through all that, we'll actually pull some oracle cards for some additional insight. That's where the Bridging the Gap dynamic comes into play. And as far as the decks being used, on the left side we have the Lotus Path Tarot, on the right side we have the Tarot Sexual Magic. And keep in mind, I'm going to be referring to the cards on the left as your energy and the cards on the right as theirs, but if you feel like it should be the other way around, then definitely trust it since it's just a general reading. Alright, so with all that out of the way, we'll get it started. Past energy on your side, we have Strength, which is the major arcana card for Leo, and Wisdom, which is the equivalent to the High Priestess, which I normally view as Pisces energy. So definitely see a contrast in the energies there. The first thing that comes to mind with these two cards to me says that, you might have had a really almost like animal level of attraction toward this person, but then you might have really just been trying to hold back on that with the Wisdom card here, because to me usually that represents, not really communicating and trying not to get out of yourself. So yeah, that's why I feel there, like the attraction was probably really heavy, but at the same time, I'm not necessarily sure you communicated that to this person. Like if we look at the two people there, I mean, they're in the same space together, but she has her back turned and she's not even really speaking to him, and she just has a book open. So it's one way I could see it. For others of you, could just be saying that there might be distance between the two of you, physical distance, possibly because you even went to school, for example. So that's one way I could see that playing out. Past energy on their side, we have the Eight of Swords, which is Gemini energy, and the King of Pentacles, which is Taurus energy, which is your opposite sign. So interesting seeing the Eight of Swords here, because like I was saying on your side, I picked up on definitely like a heavy level of attraction, but maybe not necessarily communicating that to that person. With the Eight of Swords, usually that represents a lack of communication as well. And with that King of Pentacles, if we think about the fact that that represents your opposite sign, could just be saying that they actually saw potential with you for a serious relationship, but for whatever reason, they might have been holding back on that. For some of you, they might have even still had an X in the picture, because if we look at the artwork there, it's like the woman's with this guy, but then she is like looking over her shoulder, looks like, and there's that figure in the background there. So definitely could have still been someone in the picture for them, and maybe that's something you picked up on. So maybe you had like a heavy attraction to this person, but you might have felt that energy that maybe they still had something from their past that they weren't over yet. So you might have just decided to, you know what, let me just watch and observe for a little while before actually move forward with this person. And if that's the case for some of you, they might have even been quite forward with trying to get with you, but something with the energy just might have been off to you, and you might have been like, you know what, let me hold back and see what's going on. Present position on your side, we have the Four of Coins. So this is actually Capricorn energy here, which is your third house communication, and had tons of energy through there not too long ago. Now it's really just Pluto, which is your ruler, that's left in these degrees of Capricorn. But here I'm seeing, again, if we think about the Three of Pentacles energy, right, that's that energy of building, collaboration, right? So it's like that's still there. And then with the single pentacle, that makes me think of the Ace of Pentacles. So it's like, you still might have that desire to build with this person, but you just might not be communicating that. And again, I'm picking up on that theme that for some of you, there could definitely be physical distance, because it looks like there's that figure that we see in the background, but it doesn't look like they're physically in the room, right? So it could just be distance between the two of you. Maybe that's what's holding the connection back to some extent, but looks like there's that desire there. Obviously, if we look at her facial expression, she doesn't look too happy. So for some of you, especially if there was someone else in the background that they still weren't over yet, could just be saying that you might be getting frustrated with that, right? Like, okay, is this person ever going to wrap that up or what? So that's one way I can see that playing out. Present energy on their side, we have the Stars. So this is actually Aquarius energy here. So for some of you, again, I'm picking up on similar to what I saw with the King of Pentacles, which is to say, I feel like they do see that serious potential with you as far as, if we think about Aquarius energy for you guys, that's fourth house, which is home, family, right? So I feel like they do see that foundation with you, but are they communicating it? That's a whole other story, right? Like I was saying, I was picking up on possibly a lack of communication with that Eight of Swords energy. Now I'm seeing it here too, where they might just be coming across a bit detached towards you. And of course, that's, we could see where the two energies are clashing if that's the case. Um, Now, I will say, too, one thing to keep in mind is the star card is what comes after the tower. So for some of you, this could just be saying that they're going through a growth cycle, So could just be saying that you might have to be a little more patient, but they could just be going through that now. All right. In the future position, we have the Princess of Coins. So this is actually the Page of Coins or Page of Pentacles in traditional tarot. But usually the pages represent taking action, and in the traditional tarot with the Page of Coins, it looks like the pentacle's just out of their reach, right? And that could be what you're feeling. Like, okay, the potential might be there, right? But you just feel like it's never actually going to happen. Um, if we look at those trees in the background, they look like they're, losing some life to them, right? So it could just be saying that you might be losing hope for the stability within the connection. I feel like part of you still does want it, but I feel like you're definitely losing hope. I mean, if we look at her body language, she has her back turned now, right? But still holding on to the pentacle. So, could just be one of those things where you still desire it, but you're not quite too confident that it's going to happen. And the future energy on their side, we have the Lovers, Gemini energy, Ace of Wands, and the Two of Swords. So for some of you, especially for those of you where, like I said, if there was another person in the picture, even if they don't physically have contact with them, but let's say if it's just on a more innocent side, because I don't necessarily see like shady activity here, but if you could just tell when you're dealing with the person that they're not over next, right? Could be as simple as that. With the Lover's energy here, we see in the background Cupid. Well, there we go. See Cupid in the background with the arrow, and it looks like he's aiming an arrow towards one of those women. So could just be saying that finally spiritually, and that could be what that star card was pointing to as well. They're finally getting that other person out of their minds and finally ready to put that behind them. With the Ace of Wands, looks like that's saying that once that happens, they will move toward you. Usually the Ace energies I view as more of an idea stage, as opposed to actually taking the action. But here with the background where we see the two silhouettes in the fire, it looks like they definitely have that passion and do want to come forward toward you. And with the Two of Swords, which normally in traditional tarot we think of someone not making up their mind, here we do see that they're actually extending an offer. So, I feel like this is probably going to be them and that would be you, right? So I feel like you might just be you might just want to see a little bit more out of them at this point, as far as with that Princess of Coins, like I said, especially if you feel like they made you wait a long time, you might be like, all right, well, it's cool that you're coming around now, but maybe you just want to see something a bit more concrete from them, right? So that's what I see there. All right. Bottom of the deck on your side, we have the Princess of Cups. So this is actually the equivalent of the Page of Cups. And again, like I said, I feel like the emotion is definitely there, but again, we see her body language as well, pointed away from the cards on this side. And if you look at her facial expression too, she doesn't look all that happy. So I feel like there's definitely the desire there, but again, I feel like you might be losing a little confidence as to whether or not this thing's actually going to happen. And to be fair, like I said, it doesn't really look like you guys are necessarily communicating your feelings either. Interestingly enough, beneath that, we do have the Three of Coins, and I was talking about that when we looked at the Four of Coins there. So there's definitely some potential there. Like I said, it feels like you're just not too confident that that's going to be the case. Bottom of the deck on their side, we have the Five of Wands. So this is actually Leo energy. And I will say this card just always gives me like shady vibes, It looks like there's this guy watching those two people, and then he's like reaching for that sword, it seems like, which to me represents communication. So be on the lookout for on either side for some kind of ulterior motives around communication. So, for example, like some kind of rumors being spread between either, someone telling them a rumor about you or vice versa. But that's what I see there. In the more traditional sense, Five of Wands could just represent that competition too. So, maybe this is saying that, like I said, if there was someone else in the picture, you're finally getting that out of the way and coming toward you. So that's what I see there. All right. Now moving on to the Oracle cards. First, we'll see if we get anything from the Aqua Moonlight deck here. I did pre-shuffle this deck, and what I'm looking for is jumpers as far as unspoken messages from you to them and then from them to you. And if I shuffle for a while without anything coming up, I'll just move on to the next Oracle deck. But sometimes we get additional messages here. So we'll see if we get anything. Almost had one there. All right, nothing there, so we'll see if we get any from them to you now. Nope, got one, but it fell, so let me pick that up and we'll see what it says. All right. So it says nervous. There we go. It says you make me lose my cool and I just don't know how to act in your presence. Interesting. So that gives a slightly different spin to the Eight of Swords there. And then with some of you, that could be saying that we do see the shyness of the feminine energy on this card as well. So that could be part of it too. And again, it could still tie into what I was feeling here too, that maybe for some of you, they just weren't over next from the past. So that could be part of it too, if they weren't fully ready. But if that's the case with the energy we do see in the future, it looks like they are finally going to come forward toward you. So hopefully that resonated. And moving on to the Wisdom of the Oracle deck, same situation here as far as I have pre-shuffled this deck as well, but here we're just looking for one card with general advice to wrap up with. Alright, I'll give it a few more shuffles. Worst case, we'll just put the deck down and pull a card. Alright, yeah, so let me put the deck down and tune in for a few seconds, and then I'll just pull a card. So, let's see. Alright. Okay, we have Go the Distance. There's the artwork, and the number is 47. So we'll see what it says. Okay, it says endurance, strength, the long haul. The Oracle's message. To bring your dream to life, you must think long term and pay no attention to the fluctuations in the current of your experience. Joy and disappointment commingle with opportunities, so there is no need to fear the occasional obstacle. Life is not a sprint. This card is a reminder that you have endurance, strength, and fortitude to carry you all the way. Remain true to yourself. Your authenticity alone will keep you in alignment with the energy of miracles. What is yours will never be withheld from you. Remember that. So an interesting message there, and especially given that they used the word strength, and then we did see that in the past. And like I said, if anything, it looks like you guys have been losing, well, you will be losing confidence as to whether or not this thing's finally going to take off or not. But like I said, looking at the cards on their side, it looks like they will come around. So hopefully that resonated with you. The relationship message says you either are in or are calling in a harmonious relationship that can stand the test of time. For better or worse, as you ride the ups and downs and even strain, break yourself, and are remade in new growth, you are being redeemed by the power of regeneration. Harmony does not mean there will never be a wrong note played, but that the relationship is marked by endurance and dedication to overall unity. A new song can be written, an instrument can be tuned, and the symphony of love will play on. Listen with your heart. Isn't it magnificent? So, pretty positive message there as well. And I will say, you guys have the sun in your fifth house of romance, creativity. Venus will be there. I don't think it's there yet. It's going to be there soon, though. And it's going to be there for a pretty good chunk of March as well. So, it's pretty supportive energy there as well. So, hope that resonated with you guys. We'll wrap up there, and I'll see you all next month. All right, bye.